Hello, and welcome back to the Misty Morrison podcast. I'm your host, Misty Morrison, and this is episode 46 of Was I in the Wrong? Here on the Misty Morrison podcast, we love to judge, we love to give advice, we love all the petty drama. Before we get into our stories for the day, our usual housekeeping, now that we are back in the cozy corner. Please remember to engage with the content to help the channel grow. Any kind of engagement helps, whether you are watching on YouTube, listening on podcast, watching shorts on YouTube, TikTok, Reels on Instagram and Facebook, whatever is your preference. Thank you for being here. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, leave a 5-star review, share it with a friend, all the things. Okay, into our stories for today. Story number 1 is coming to us from r/AITA_relationships. AITA for insisting that my soon-to-be ex-wife and I move out of our house as soon as possible. My wife, 29 female, soon-to-be ex-wife, once we get our house sold, and I, 29 male, have been living elsewhere to meet the 1-year separation requirement for divorce in our state. I've been paying for the mortgage while she paid for the utilities and other bills. We agreed that she could stay as long as she wanted, but I asked that if she decided to move, she do so in summer or a long holiday. She's a teacher. Over the past year, she forgot to pay the electric bill twice, the second time the power got turned off, and I covered both payments, and spent our entire tax return. During a co-parenting counseling session, I blew up about this, and a few days later she said she would move so I could sell the house. She quickly found an apartment with a move-in date on October 1st, the middle of the school year. Last week she told me that she had gotten everything she wanted out of the house and that I could decide what to do with the rest. I've not been able to come by our house until today and saw a pile of things that she had told me she wanted to take. I saw this, sent her a picture of it, and we had the following exchange. 4:18 p.m. Me. I thought you were keeping these. And the curtains. 4:27 p.m. Her. I was planning on it, yes. 4:27 p.m. Is there anything else in the house? Oh, me. Is there anything else in the house that you still want? 4:38 p.m. Me. I would greatly appreciate a response. Last week you told me you were done and that I could do what I wanted with everything remaining in the house. 5:02 p.m. Her. I was on a walk with Jessica and literally couldn't text you. Have some patience, please. I think a standard 1 to 2 hour wait is fair for a response time. I'm not glued to my phone. 5:06 p.m. Her. I'm done cleaning out essentials. I do want the curtains and the pile of memorabilia, but I don't have time to get them myself until next weekend. You are impatient to get things sold, so I release anything that's left. I'm sure there are things I'd still love to have, but I really don't have any time to inventory or process. It's all fine. I would love more time, but it doesn't seem like that's a possibility, so do as you please. I go to X this weekend. I think I will need to drop Jessica off Friday night at bedtime. Does that work for you? 5:08 p.m. Me. How much time do you think you would need to actually go through each room and decide what you wanted? Friday night works. 5:08 p.m. Her. I would need a day, and I don't have a day available until next Sunday. 5:11 p.m. Me. Fine, I'll wait until next Sunday. Remember that we agreed that I will be getting an amount equal to the mortgage payments I'm making since October 1st off the top of the cash to seller when we sell the house. 5:12 p.m. Her. Yeah, I remember. I care more about my mental health and my overall well-being than killing myself over money. 5:13 p.m. Her. I also literally can't make it happen any faster. End of text messages. I should note that she had this previous Sunday to herself. AITA. For all the back and forth of the text messages, I forgot what even he was asking. Am I the asshole for insisting that my ex-wife move out and of her house as soon as possible so you can sell it? No, I don't think that's unreasonable at all. Yeah. Kind of sounds like a weird situation. I don't like that she's like, I'm done with everything. You can go ahead and sell it now. And then you are kind enough to let her know, like, you saw a pile of things that she previously said she wanted and you're checking on it with her. And she's like, well, there's a lot that I'd still like. I just don't have any more time right now. and it's all your fault for being impatient, but I mean, she's known this was coming for a long time. You've been living elsewhere to meet the 1-year separation. It doesn't say how long you've been living elsewhere, like if you're already at that 1-year mark or what it is, or how far into that year it is. But I feel like at this point she's had plenty of time. And if it's like closer to the end of that 1-year mark, I couldn't blame you for being impatient about it. Yeah, you are not the asshole. She seems to be taking the rush very personally, and I don't think she should. Story number 2 is coming to us from r/am I overreacting? AIO for being mad with my boyfriend after he served everyone dinner but told me to wait. Last night, my boyfriend, 19 male, invited me over, 18 female, for dinner with his family. His mom made a big meal for us, chicken, mashed potatoes, etc. But I arrived a little late, so I didn't have a plate set out for me. By the time I got there, everyone had already sat down and started eating. When I asked my boyfriend if I should grab a plate, he told me to hold on and make sure that everyone else got food first. This didn't make sense to me, but I waited anyways. After about 10 minutes, everyone was still chatting at the dinner table, and I was awkwardly waiting in the living room. There were no available seats at the table. I heard his mom ask if I wasn't hungry, and my boyfriend replied that I could grab food in just a bit. This is weird. At that point, I got embarrassed and just said I wasn't hungry when asked about it. After dinner, I told my boyfriend that I felt pretty humiliated that I just had to sit around while everybody else ate. He told me that I was making a scene and it wasn't that deep. I hate that statement. Now, both him and his mom are saying I overreacted and should have just waited patiently to get food until everyone else was done eating. No, that is weird. You were invited for dinner. What the heck? Let's see. And you didn't overreact. Like you didn't call the scene. You waited patiently in the living room, even though that was weird. AIO for being frustrated about it. I probably could have been more assertive, but it was a really uncomfortable situation. Edit because people are asking. I was about 15 minutes late because of an appointment. I gave him notice that I might not make it on time yesterday morning. Genuinely can't think of any more context to add because this is how it all ran down from my perspective. I'm thinking there's something his family hasn't made known to me. I don't know about that last part. I want to scroll back up to the beginning. Yeah, invited you over for dinner with his family. Okay, and you let him know in advance that you were going to be late. So one thing that sticks out to me, he invited you over, so his family should have known how many they were expecting. There should have been a seat available for you at the table when you were invited for dinner. Weird thing number 1. Weird thing number 2, why everyone else was already at the table eating and chatting. You asked if you should grab a plate because there wasn't one set out, and your boyfriend told you to hold on and make sure everyone else got food first. From the way you wrote it, everyone else already had their food. If there was a line, okay, I could see holding on and waiting to get at the back of the line. But that doesn't sound like that was the situation here. And you're just waiting for 10 minutes in the living room. And his mom asks if you're not hungry. And he still is like, oh, she can grab food in just a bit. What are you waiting on at that point? Everyone else is already eating. There's enough food. There's just not a seat, which there should have been. Even if they didn't have enough seats to start with, or, maybe he made them think, you might not be there at all because you were going to be late. As soon as you got there, someone should have made room and got a chair for you to sit at the table. Also, I do think there's probably something else going on here because, yes, you guys are only 18 and 19, but his mom and the other family, if they're all adults, should have been gracious enough, knowing you had been invited, to be like, oh, come on in, grab you a plate, sit down with us. That's the normal thing to do. This is a really weird situation. I know I definitely wouldn't be comfortable going back over to this house to eat again. If I was invited, I'd just be like, oh, no, thanks, I have other plans. Because that was really weird and awkward, and I feel like there's something else underneath there. You're not overreacting. You're right. But also, you didn't overreact. You waited patiently. You just seem to have said something about it after the fact. Super weird. Story number 3 is coming to us from r/am I the jerk. AITJ for not giving my stepson, 18 male, my late wife's car. My late wife passed away 2 years ago. She had a small sedan that she loved and kept in perfect condition. Her son Ryan, 18 male, was 16 at the time. I've since remarried, and Ryan lives with his dad full-time now. Recently, he texted me saying he's getting his license and wants to finally take Mom's car since it was supposed to be mine. That was news to me. She never said that, and the car is in my name now. I told him I plan to sell it because I rarely use it. He said it's messed up that I'd sell something that was his mom's legacy. I offered to let him buy it at a big discount, $3,000 instead of its $6,000 value. He refused, saying that was cold and she'd want me to have it. Now his dad texted me calling me heartless. AITJ for refusing to give him the car for free? Yes. Yes. Even if she didn't have it in her will, like where it was going, even if it was probably TOD'd to you because her son was a minor at the time, but even if she didn't have a will saying who was getting what, even if she never said to you that she wanted him to have it, she cared a lot about this car. Like, she kept it in perfect condition. You don't need it. You said you're going to sell it because you rarely use it. I don't really feel like it's yours. It was hers. The son's not really a part of your life anymore, it seems like. You've remarried, so he lives with his dad. Why wouldn't you want him to have it? You don't use it. You don't have a need for it. It was his mom's. He wants it. You don't need it. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't give it to him. That I'm with his dad. This sounds like you're being cold and heartless. You don't need it. You're wrong. I think you're being selfish. Like, at this point, I feel like the car doesn't mean anything to you, but it means a lot to him. So for you to sell it to someone else is just being completely selfish and heartless. But also, had he been an adult when his mom died, she probably would have left it to him. I don't think he should have to buy his mom's legacy. I don't think he should have to. You are the jerk. All right, story number 4 is coming to us from r/AITA-H. AITA for not wanting my husband's family to stay with us for the holidays. Probably not. Definitely not. We have a 1-bedroom apartment with a 7-month-old. Space is already so limited. Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare. My husband's sister and her family are flying across the country to spend Christmas with us for 11 days. Holy hell. They insisted they stay with us instead of getting a hotel. 11 days in a hotel would be very expensive. This already just sounds completely outrageous. Of course, my husband agrees to this without talking to me. When he does ask me about it, I explain how it's going to be crowded. The noise has to be kept to a minimum because of the baby. My son already has trouble sleeping, so who knows how it will be by next month. Husband is working some days while they're here, so he insists they use my car to go and do stuff while I'm home with the kid. The problem I have the most issue with is when I speak up, he immediately says I'm against his family, even though he's always talking crap against mine. My family hasn't been over to see my son yet because they know it's going to take hotel and car rental fees. They don't insist on uprooting my entire routine for 11 days. My mom can get me discounts because she works at a hotel, but that's still not good enough for them. I just think it's rude to insist on sleeping on an air mattress that will take up half our living room. My son will not have a safe place to play. I'll have to lock myself away to pump every 3 to 4 hours. Our routines will be shattered. I have a feeling their kid will be loud and wake the baby. Husband said, "Don't get mad if sister's kid breaks things. He's 5. I'm going to be mad." Rightly so. I'm made to feel like the asshole because I have an opinion. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. AITAH. No. I'm completely with you. I get that feeling often of thinking of, those small little ways in which you know you've been wronged. and you really feel like you can't do anything about it, and the more you think about it, you just get angrier and angrier and more resentful. I feel it. You are not the asshole. You're not wrong. 11 days is a long time. 3 days would probably be my max. I love my in-laws, I love my family, but I also love my space and my peace and my privacy. And like there's, a certain point in the day that you just want to be alone. And especially with that newborn, you're breastfeeding, you need that extra privacy. They're literally going to take up all the space. You're right, your kid will have no place to play. And it seems like we already know that his sister's kid is rambunctious. We'll say that nicely. Because he's already saying that he's going to break things. And at 5, he should know better. At 5, he should know better. I could see an accident, but your husband said that like he knows he's fully going to go around and be a terror. And in such a small space with that many people, it would be easy enough for an accident to happen, let alone a 5-year-old running around being a terror. Don't let them make you feel like the asshole you are not. If your husband is really so dead set on this because it seems like it is his way or the highway, and your mom can get you discounts at hotels, I would just, maybe it's time for you to go visit your family. Maybe you can stay with your mom, and they can get to see your kid for the holidays, and your husband can have his family for the holidays. Maybe that's the best thing. Because if they're insisting on coming, invading your space, they're not willing to get a hotel, okay, I'm not willing to, be in such a small place with so many people. I don't want to deal with it. I'm going to go stay at a hotel with the baby, or I'm going to go see my family with the baby. You all can have this 1-bedroom space. That probably won't go over well. It sounds like, because it sounds like your husband's opinion is the only one that matters. So that probably won't go over well, but I don't really see where you have another choice. Aside from just locking the door or refusing to let them in. You are not the asshole. You are right. This whole situation is obnoxious and selfish. And you live there. You should have an opinion. Your opinion should be valid in the house that you have a right to live in. Okay. I think that was number 4. Yep. Story number 5 is coming to us from r/am I the jerk. AITJ for refusing to get tested to see if I'm a kidney match for my sister. Initial reaction, I don't think you ever owe anybody a body part or an organ. Kind of flatline hard roll for me. My 32 female older sister, Clara, 35 female, has been diagnosed with a severe kidney disease. Her doctors have said that without a transplant in the near future, she will face a lifetime of grueling dialysis and a significantly shortened life expectancy. Our entire family is understandably devastated. I have a complicated relationship with Clara. We weren't close growing up, and as adults, we've mostly been civil at family events, but don't have a personal relationship. The main reason for this distance is a pattern of behavior from her that I can only describe as chronically selfish and manipulative. She borrowed a large sum of money from me years ago for a can't-miss business opportunity that failed. And she never paid me back, joking that it was my contribution to her education in the school of hard knocks. She also missed my wedding for a last-minute vacation with her then-boyfriend and has a history of making snide, undermining comments about my career and life choices. When her diagnosis was announced, the family immediately launched a campaign to find a donor. Flyers were made, social media blasts went out, and everyone was talking about how we all needed to step up. My mother, weeping, said, "One of us in the family must be a match. We have to save her." A few weeks ago, in a family group chat, the topic of living donors came up. My cousin volunteered to get tested. My mom said she would, but her age might be a factor. Then my aunt tagged me directly and wrote, "And of course, my name. You'll get tested too. Sisters are the most likely matches." Never ever volunteer someone else for something, ever. I didn't respond in the chat. Later that night, I called my parents privately. I told them as gently as I could that I would not be getting tested. I explained that while I sympathize with Clara's situation, I am not willing to donate my kidney. You might need it later. My mom was hysterical. She called me a monster, cold-hearted, and said I was essentially signing my sister's death warrant. My dad, usually calm, said he was profoundly disappointed and that families should do anything for each other. She didn't for you. They asked me why, and my reasons didn't seem to land. The risk. While generally safe, kidney donation is still major surgery with real risks, including chronic pain, hypertension, and future health complications. I'm healthy, and the idea of voluntarily undergoing a procedure that could compromise my long-term health terrifies me. Valid enough. The history. I flat out told them I don't love my sister in the way that would make me sacrifice an organ for her. Given our history, I feel no deep, selfless bond. I feel like she's a relative I know, not someone I'd give a part of my body to. Completely fair and reasonable. My own family. I'm married, and my husband and I are trying to start our own family. The thought of going through a pregnancy with one kidney, or having a health issue later in life that could be exacerbated by having only one kidney, fills me with anxiety. My future and the future of my potential children feels more immediate and important to me than mending a relationship that was never there. Also fair, and besides that, you giving her a kidney is not going to mend your relationship. It's just going to be one more thing she takes from you. The news spread through the family. I'm now being bombarded with messages, some calling me a jerk, others a selfish bitch. My cousin who volunteered said I'm making this about me, when it's about Clara's life. Even some family friends have reached out to guilt trip me. The only person who hasn't said anything is Clara. I don't know if she's too sick, too proud, or if she expected this from me. She should have. A part of me is racked with guilt. A woman's life is on the line, and I'm refusing to even take the test to see if I can help. Don't get tested. If you get tested and you're a match and then you refuse, that's even worse. Still justified. I still think you would be right. But it looks worse in their eyes if you're a match and you say no. At least this way they don't know for sure that you would have been a match. I'm being told that my reasons are just excuses and that my grudges are petty compared to the gravity of the situation. I'm watching my family fall apart, and I'm being painted as a villain for sticking to my decision. Good for you. So Reddit, am I the jerk for refusing to get tested to see if I'm a kidney match for my sister? No, you don't owe her that. You don't owe anyone that. But there's an update. Update 2 days later. I've been sitting with everything that's happened over the past few days, and I can't stop thinking about it. After my last conversation with my parents, the one where my mom called me a monster, I thought I was done. I told myself I had nothing to feel guilty about. But that night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I kept picturing Clara in a hospital bed, hooked up to machines, just waiting. Not as my manipulative sister, but as a scared woman facing something that could kill her. Still not your responsibility. I kept thinking, what if I don't even try to find out? What if I could help and I just never knew because I refused to take one test? But if you could, would you? So 2 days ago, I called the hospital handling her transplant program. I asked what it would actually take to get tested as a potential donor. The coordinator was surprisingly kind. She didn't pressure me or make me feel guilty. She explained it would just be a blood test and some preliminary health checks to determine compatibility. No commitment, no strings attached. Yesterday morning, I went in. My hands were shaking the entire time I filled out the forms. The nurse must have noticed because she said softly, "You're brave for even showing up." I wanted to correct her. I didn't feel brave. I felt terrified and conflicted and ashamed that it took this long. The blood draw itself was quick. I expected to feel instant clarity afterwards, but instead I felt hollow. Like I just crossed a line I couldn't uncross. When I got home, I didn't tell anyone, not my parents, not even my husband at first. I just sat in the car in the driveway for a long time, staring at the test bandage on my arm. Then I finally went inside and told him what I'd done. He was quiet for a minute, then said, "As long as you're doing it for you, not because they bullied you, I support you." Good husband. He's right. I don't even know why I did it exactly. Maybe part of me just wanted peace. Maybe I needed to know either way that I didn't let resentment make the decision for me. The results will take a few days. I'm not sure what I'm hoping for. If I'm not a match, at least I'll know I tried. If I am, then I guess I'll have to decide what kind of sister I really want to be. Well, you are a kinder, more graceful person than I am. From that update and the turnaround in that update. Because I would have, me personally, I would have still been the person you were in the first post. With X, Y, and Z reasons she treated me this way. I don't owe her anything. How can you expect such a grand gesture and such kindness from someone that you were not kind to? That's me. An eye for an eye, turnabout is fair play. Why do you have to be the bigger person? And I say that as someone who has always had to be the bigger person. I've always had to be the one to give in. And maybe that's why it's so easy on this side of the story to say, no, if I had the choice, if I had the power and the voice, I wouldn't give in. But I think you're a really big person for going ahead and getting tested, and really considering every side of this. But still, you did get tested, but if you turn out not to be a match, you're free and clear. If you turn out to be a match and you still decide not to donate, I think that is fair. I think that is valid. And I still think your decision is right for you and your family. Because from the entire sound of this story, the only family that you really have is the family that you are building with your husband. Oh, boy, we ended that one on a heavy one. But that is 5 stories for this week's episode of Was I in the Wrong? That is us done for the day. Thank you so much for being here, for following along. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts on the stories, especially that last one. And I will see you next time for another episode of the Misty Morrison Podcast. Bye.